Here we are after the rousing speech at the Ralph Nader rally to open the debates in Denver, Colorado, in the Capitol, at the Democratic National Convention with Ralph Nader himself. What a fantastic speech. What do you think of the crowd tonight?
I think it kept building and kept adding. People kept coming in from all over the city, and they're really with it.
What a response. It was great. What are your intentions with this?
We want to provide a contrast at the scene of the action, both the Democratic National Convention and next following week the Republican National Convention in St. Paul, Minnesota. People need to see contrast. That's why they like debates rather than parallel interviews. And we brought together 4,000 people on relatively short notice in a city that was completely focused on the Democrats and their corporate hospitality suites. And I think we showed through the speakers, the young generation that's coming to levels of political responsibility, and great entertainers like Tom Morello and Sean Penn's brilliant speech on what the First Amendment really means, that there is a third force in American politics that's growing and growing all over the country.
Now, as we've followed the Democratic National Convention, we found corporate sponsor after corporate sponsor after corporate sponsor. What's their role in these debates?
Well, their role is basically to shine the shoes of the politicians and tell them that they're there and they're willing to provide what the politicians want, which is, of course, campaign money and the approval of these powerful lobbyists, and nice jobs when these politicians leave the Congress. It's all a matrix of mutual back-scratching, and Coors Beer is there, and Quest is there, and the big utility company is there, and of course the oil companies, the drug companies, insurance companies, and the banks. I thought it's sort of antithetical to the posture of the Democratic Party as being a force for working families, which is a farce. They should have had hospitality suites for regular laborers, for nurses, for people who harvest our foods, for people who take care of our children, for veterans. That would have really been symbolically powerful. But no, once again, they dialed for the same corporate dollars that will appear at the Republican convention.
Another missed opportunity to show that the Democrats are a party for the people.
Yes.
A direct contrast to their policies and positions. Now, briefly, Coors is sort of the big industry here in Denver, and Coors is very anti-union. How does that affect the people of Denver?
Well, it doesn't affect the Democratic Party. They could care less. I mean, the big banks don't have unions. The big insurance companies don't have unions. The big pharmaceutical companies rarely allow unions. And this is supposed to be a party of the working classes. It's really amazing how without minority votes, African Americans, Latinos, and without labor unions, there would be no Democratic Party in the playing field. And what does the Democratic Party do? They basically corporatize themselves, raise a lot of corporate interest money, and turn their backs on the legitimate interests and necessities of minorities and working people.
It's all about the corporations.
Yeah, it's I don't like to use this phrase, but it's corporate power, stupid. That's what really should be the core focus of this presidential campaign, and they are engaging both parties in the politics of avoidance.
We've seen again and again the power of the corporations over Washington through their revolving door employment policy. Just as you bring up, Donald Rumsfeld is a prime example, where he works in government for a term or two, and then he goes into big business, and then he rolls right back in. And we see Barack Obama bailing out AT&T on telecom immunity, and they abetted spying of the White House. Is he patting himself for a future job?
Well, Barack Obama has got his own politics of fear. He is fearful of corporate power, very fearful. That's why he's bending to corporate power. He's flip-flopping in their direction as it moves closer toward the November 4th election, and why so many of his policies have been in favor of the credit card industry, for example. His policies have been in favor of the mining industry. He opposed the reform of the 1872 Mining Act to provide some royalties back to the U.S. government from corporations mining on the federal lands, which are our lands. It's very disappointing to see someone who could be the first African-American president corporatize himself further corporatize his Democratic Party, and turn his back on the very people that he regales with his rhetoric of hope and change.
Barack Obama has just chosen Joe Biden to be his running mate. Now, he's got a history with the credit card companies.
Yes, we call Joe Biden Senator Plastic because he comes from Delaware, which is a real corporate plantation, and he has been the front in Congress for whatever MBIA, the big credit card company, and other banks want. And of course, the credit card industry is full of malicious fine print in their contracts, gouging interest rates, penalties. And for him now to come and challenge the Republicans' credentials in terms of standing for the interests of people is rather disingenuous. Joe Biden is going to be an effective attack dog, but Joe Biden has time and time again fronted for big business, which is about the last thing the Democratic Party needs because they're full of fronts of big business.
Do you have a final word for the people?
Well, I thought the good motto for our campaign, and I'm not much into mottos, is "We will decide." The preamble to the Constitution, you know, is "We the people," not "We the corporations." And yes, we can just doesn't cut the mustard. We will decide should be the motto for progressive politics in America.
We're going from a president who calls himself the decider, and it's time for us to say, we will decide.
Exactly. That was what puts responsibility on our shoulders and basically leads us to recognize our own power, to focus it, organize it, and move it forward, and make it our government and big business our servants, not our masters.